General, would you please repeat your closing remarks on the situation in Sinai in your principal address? The microphone went dead here while you were speaking and we could not hear them. Over.
This will have to be over again. Let's have it over again.
Now repeat your question, Jerusalem. Repeat your question, please.
Before we repeat the question, I would ask the General please not to speak too close to the mic because his remarks do not come through too clearly. The question was, would you repeat your closing remarks during your summary on Sinai because the microphone in Jerusalem went dead just then? Over.
What was it? אני מציע שאני אעשה את זה בסוף. בסוף אני צריך להיזכר מה אמרתי.
We'll come to that later on as far as Jerusalem is concerned.
As we're on the matter of logistics in this end, can I take this time to ask you if it's possible that at the moment various foreign correspondents, including those from television, are finding it difficult, if not impossible, to cover this war first-hand, to get to the front line and cover this war first-hand? Is it likely that these restrictions might be lifted?
You must, again, I would like to tell you and to underline that 3.5 days the operations are very complicated and difficult, but I can promise you that we shall weigh it very seriously and I shall try to do whatever we can to help you. But I'm not promising anything 100%.
I have a couple of short questions. First of all, you say that the Egyptians have now been contained in a strip along the canal. You use the figure of 3 to 5 kilometers. Earlier today, we had the figure of 5 to 7 kilometers. Does this mean that the Egyptians have been pushed back?
No, this is not what I said. I said that the line we are holding a line approximately 3 to 5 kilometers from the canal, and in the rest of the strip there are Egyptian concentrations. I imagine that in some places Egyptians were probably repulsed, but in some places perhaps it was more a question of our advance.
Also, would you clarify?
General. All right, we'll have one question of the...
In this, you said that in the air, Israel enjoyed great superiority numerically. I didn't understand that.
Neither did I, because I didn't say it.
All right. Would you repeat this a little bit? Am I the only one who didn't understand it?
I never said it. What I said was that in casualties in the air. Say that, Andy.
General, in your Sinai remarks, you said that the line you're holding is one where you may have to husband resources, use space and time, and field blows in the most intelligent way. Is that a hint that for the time being, you may not be making much forward motion at this point?
I'm not hinting at anything. I'm saying simply, and I said it not in context of our line, I said it in context with the Egyptian front.
We got a communique this morning that the IDF controls the entire northern sector of the Suez Canal all along the waterline. Now, there's a communique of this morning, right here. Does that mean a situation has deteriorated, as you said? And does that mean that Israel has abandoned the bunkers of the left line along the canal?
First of all, I don't know about such a communique.
Yeah, I haven't had a communique. This morning, 9 of October. This morning. The first lines.
Well, I'm sorry to say the communique is not correct.
The question also be if abandoned all the bunkers of the Belimat.
First of all, the communique is not correct. Secondly, we have evacuated most of the Bar-Lev line. Sorry, the gentleman with the beard.
Thank you. You say you're going to give very hard punishment to the Arabs. Well,
No.
the Syrians have already used ground-to-ground missiles. Three things. Firstly, do they have missiles, or in fact the Egyptians have missiles that can hit Israeli cities? Can you imagine a situation in which they would use them? And three, what would be the Israeli retaliation?
Any more details you'd like to know?
Well, I'm going to start.
No,
Sorry.
Okay. In talking about air casualties, you said, and General Azar hinted at the same thing last night, you said our air casualties were not from air battle.
Most of them.
What, can you tell us anything about the Israeli losses to missiles, air losses to missiles, either on the Egyptian or the Syrian front?
We did have quite a number of losses in the air for missiles on the Syrian and the Egyptian front.
Sorry, is that still the case, or was that only in the first few days of the war, first day or two of the war?
The whole war has lasted so far for 3.5 days.
Are those missiles still effective? Were they still effective today on the fourth day of the war?
I must check that point. No, seriously, I must check it. I think, and I'm always careful with the press, I think they were less effective today, but I have to check that point. I would like you to check it with the spokesman's office.
Just a minute. Would you give him a chance?
אלוף יריב, לאור הדברים שאתה אמרת, להתייחס לקומוניקציה. מה דעתך על ההערכה שקו בר-לב יכזב ולו אף במעט לאור המציאות?
סליחה, אני לא הקשבתי פה, הסתכלתי על הבולטין הזה. סליחה.
זה לא עוד דובר דרך אגב. מה דעתך על ההערכה שקו בר-לב יכזב ולו אף במעט לאור המציאות?
The question was whether I think that the Bar-Lev line has disappointed us. Well, I think that I'll say the bunkers of the Bar-Lev line, this is the heart of the question. From all the evidence I've heard and I've seen, and from the talks I had with some of the commanders of the Southern Front, I can say that these bunkers have not disappointed us, and that the people inside these bunkers have played a most important role during a most difficult period of operations.
Just a minute, I promised here. Dan?
הייתה תקיפה של מטוסי חיל האוויר הישראלי על רמטכ"ל המצרית. האם אתה מוכן להתייחס לנושא הזה?
The question was whether I would like to comment on the reports from various foreign press sources that we have bombed the Egyptian military headquarters in Cairo today. We have not.
General, it's been 5 years since you met the Egyptian and Syrian armies in locked combat, not just merely artillery shellings and heavy fighting following the war of attrition. You spoke of the additional supplies which the Arab armies have now gotten in the past 5 years. Could you analyze for us the differences in the manner of command and in the quality of the Arab soldier during that period?
Much too early for that.
At the back there. Shama Besov.
General, is there any truth in the, I call it rumor, that there are up to 400 Egyptian tanks this side of the canal? That's my first question. And the second question is that there is very little security in the Baal-Lev line or holding Sinai at all unless you manage to retake your original positions on the Baal-Lev line throughout.
I'm thinking about the second part of your question. I would say that 400 tanks, Egyptian tanks, this part of the Suez Canal is a fair estimate. I won't give you the exact number. As far as the second part of the question, it was not so clear to me.
Can I re-ask it, General?
Yes, please.
My question is that is it a true assessment of the situation that the Israeli army in southwest Sinai, in other words, the Suez Canal area and the Gulf of Suez area, is insecure until such a time as you retake these positions because of a risk of being cut off through the passage?
I would say that Israel is insecure as long as we have not licked the Egyptians, this way or the other. So it is not just a question of Baal-Lev line, it's a question of licking the other side.
Over there. Look.
How many names, if you tell us, will the list that you gave to the Red Cross?
I don't know.
But somebody must know.
If he knows, I don't think we should publish the list yet.
General, could you tell how is the situation of the Arab population in the occupied territories? Are they quiet or are they in rumor because of the war?
The second, I didn't hear the last part of your question. Ze'avinoti.
How is the situation of the Arab population in the occupied territories? Are they quiet or are they going into the streets and are opposing Israeli?
So far, quiet.
General, can you outline for us precisely what the targets, what the strategic targets, both in Syria and Egypt, were today, the targets of the warplane?
In Egypt, we bombed airfields, 2 airfields today, Kutamia and Mansoura, and I think with very good results. The list of the targets in Damascus, I think it was published in the announcement.
Yes.
So you better, perhaps I might miss one, so just please do check the list in the announcement.
Well, we're getting to the last 2 questions. We'll get it from back there.
Here.
Just a minute. Yeah.
How long in kilometers is it from Sinai?
The Suez Canal front is, if I'm not mistaken, 160 kilometers.
We have this lady here now.
What would be a possible outline of the outcoming of this war? Are your armies just supposed to hold only a few points, lost ground, or is it a possible target to cover even more ground of the enemy?
The question, the lady wanted to know details about our operational plans. Whether we will be satisfied with holding our present lines or whether we are going to develop an appetite for more territories.
General, when you speak in terms of a long war, as you said, you speak in terms of days, weeks, months, how long?
I said it won't be a short war. I didn't say a long. It is hard for me, and if I want to be a responsible man, I won't put it into figures. I can't put it into figures at this stage.
Well, the last question, Vili.
האם אנחנו תוקפים את המצרים לאורך התעלה או מסתפקים בעדיפת התקפת הנגד שלהם?
אתה מתרגם?
Okay. The question was whether we are attacking the Egyptians along the Suez Canal or whether we are satisfied with repulsing their attacks. Well, the fighting against the Egyptian forces along the canal is a combination of air attacks, repulse, and attack.
Thank you very much.